Story time part 2. All right, so where I left off was the eventful night of November 1, 2001, Spelman College, Manley Hall. So from there, after a couple hours of being in the room and having almost the whole campus in the building, trying to figure out what was going on, and the millions of phone calls coming through, a couple of hours of that, kind of sitting there just bumped out and tired, and get to the hospital with the young ladies that were upperclassmen that my roommate had met when she was there for the summer. A couple of them had, cars, so they went down to go see her at the hospital. At least we was hoping to be able to see her at the hospital. And of course we get down there, and then they tell us because she's being detained, she cannot have visitors. So we're just kind of like, if she can't have visitors, then what's going to happen when her family gets here? Mind you, she's out of state, in school out of state. And so her parents and her grandparents and stuff, they had to, and I think her boyfriend, the child's father, had to drive up here. I don't know if he drove here or not, but I know her mom, her stepdad, her grandmother, I think an uncle, because I talked to about 4 relatives in the span of a couple of hours. And, like I said, they were upset, but they weren't angry at her for necessarily not telling them. It was just more out of concern of her and the baby's welfare and their well-being. Which, good parents are just, we might be upset about why you didn't say anything, but you can't really dwell on that in that moment when you got not only the aspect of the health and welfare of her and the kid, of the baby, but now you have this legal issue. So let's just say they didn't really have time to just sit and be angry about this, because they understand the gravity of this. They understood the gravity of the situation. So when we got down there, we found out that, I had her personals and that she could not get any visitors. To this very day, I have not seen her. I have not seen her since she was taken away. So I wasn't able to really see her. I never saw the baby, as far as outside of the baby being carried out the dorm by the paramedics. And man flew down them stairs. Child, he was not playing. I haven't seen or heard from her since. And it was, unfortunate, because it was like, I think even if she couldn't tell her family, if she wanted me to tell them what was going on, even if it was down to the wire, to the last minute, I would have happily, informed them of the situation and talked with them and, let them know, hey, she's scared. She wants you all to know, but, she feels her body is going through some things, and she probably, like that day had been in labor, probably had been in labor for a few days, and just really trying to downplay and suppress the, what her body was telling her and going through. So, there's a moment where even when you're in denial of something that great and that serious, your body is still going to tell on itself. You can't suppress everything. So when we were there and we were told we couldn't go see her or anything, I, called the family, told them what was going on. When she was detained, that temporarily revoked her parental rights because of the charges itself being against the baby. They, would not, of course, release the baby to her. So that led to me having to call the boyfriend. So I think I confirmed with her parents, the young man that she was dating, and just to make sure I was calling the right person, and saying, hey, I don't know if you're aware, but your girlfriend's here at school. She just gave birth to a baby boy. So here's where things are now. And so of course when I got on the phone with him, he wasn't necessarily downright denying the baby, but he was trying to, I guess it would be natural to be doubtful if you're pregnant for 40 weeks plus 2 minus 3, gestation for average pregnancy is 40 weeks, but you can go up to 42 weeks or, be as early as 37 weeks as far as what the doctors would deem full term. Typically, they don't want you to, if they can help you keep from going into preterm labor before 37 weeks, they will. Now, if you just go into labor, you give birth and you have a baby and you only 35 weeks and there's no stopping, you're in active labor, it is what it is. Or if the baby is, the pregnancy is posing a danger to your health or to the health of the baby, then they'll take the baby. But they deem, full term. And I always encourage, moms to go up to at least 37 weeks. Ironically, both of my sons were born. My first son came at 37 weeks one day, and my second son, my baby son, came at 37 weeks 2 days. So, besides, it was just like, okay, y'all gotta do something, because this is enough. They're done. They're done in the oven. It's time. It's just time. Ooh, I was not happy. I had to have C-section, so I was like, I never even broke that like dial. My water broke with my oldest, and my youngest just got to a point where I had to go down. Like, your blood pressure is ridiculous. Time to give birth. But he basically, they want you to go up to 37 weeks. So I think she was full term at, I think, maybe 38 or 39 weeks. I don't want to give an exact number because it's been so long, but they considered the baby full term too. So I told them, I said, if you feel assured, even though she didn't say anything, but you feel confident that you guys were together and that committed at least, and that this is your baby, this is the situation. So I explained to him that he would have to come from where they were to Georgia to have the baby discharged to him because he's the father. Now I want to say they would have did a quick DNA test to confirm that, paternity test. Even if he was doubtful and he just wanted it, get under the situation, under the circumstances, he could have gotten a quick paternity test and had that confirmed so that he could have the baby discharged to him. If not, then it would be to the next of kin, which would have been her mom or his mother if he was confirmed to be the father, or her grandmother, which both were willing to have the baby discharged to them and willing to help her with the baby, help take care of the baby while she goes to school and do all of that. Like I said, in part one, her grandmother literally was like, I would have put her in an apartment. I would have did all of that, so that she could focus on her education. I would have, came there, got the baby after she gave birth and everything, even if it meant relocating temporarily to give her and the baby some adjustment time, and been there with her while she finished school. Like, that's the that's how, much support her family, was willing to provide, which is what you expect, family that loves you and cares about you to do. And I hope that the family, my roommate's family, that showed that love and support to her could be something that we can all learn a lesson in, because then that'll help open up the lines of communication for these young ladies that might be afraid or scared, especially being young, of saying, hey, I'm pregnant, and they 19, 18 years old, and they get pregnant. If you show your kid that you love and support them, and your daughter gets pregnant, you want that line of communication open, because of situations like this, it doesn't just hurt the mother, it hurts the mother, the father, everybody affected, and in so many different areas. It wasn't just, like I said, the health issue that they had to be worried about. Now they got to be worried about the legal ramifications of it. And so he was, like most the average person would be very doubtful if you don't know if you gotten someone pregnant, they don't say anything, and then they give birth, and then next thing you know, you get in a phone call 38, 39 weeks later saying, oh, congratulations, you have a son. And you're like, wait, what? So, it just, when it got to a point in the conversation, though, where it was like, listen, this is the deal. If you believe that you're the father, even if you're doubtful, you're going to have to come to Georgia. You can take a DNA test. You can have that confirmed. Under the circumstances, they would expedite it, I'm sure, and then release the baby to you. They will not release the baby to her because she is detained. This girl's got like 3 or 4 charges, and 2 of them were high felonies. Attempted murder, like that's a felony. So, I need you to, let's snap into this and think, what are you gonna do? And then the next thing I know, he just broke down. He was crying. He was upset. And he was like, I wish she should have just told me. Like, that's natural to be the response. However, I understand she didn't say anything. Now, because, I was her roommate for 3 months. I've witnessed this girl deny even the aspect of pregnancy. And it's difficult when someone is in that much denial, mentally and emotionally, they're not connected. It's difficult to try to get them to understand why, no, you are pregnant, and I don't want anything to happen where you go do something crazy because you're so much in denial. You're not factoring in, your altered life with a child. Because, it's becoming a mother is a life-altering decision. Your whole life shifts and changes. There's not enough preparation in the world you can go through to prepare to be a mother. It's just not. You can read all the books and watch all the videos and whatever all day long. There's just no 100% method of fully preparing yourself. Because everybody's experience is different. First time motherhood is different for everybody. Pregnancies are different. Your delivery is going to be different. It's not going to be the same as everybody else's. So you have to take that experience and kind of help, shape what your life is going to be as a new mother, for yourself, and do what's best for you and what works for you. If you're not ready, just give the baby to the hospital. That's it. Just get the baby to the hospital and leave the baby alone. Okay? There's no reason to do anything harmful or heinous. Just give the baby to the hospital. And when you have a support system like what my roommate had, where they were like, you know what, it's fine. Even I think her mother also had her young. So she understood. She was like, I had her young, and I, still had my kids and raised them. And I think she had gotten remarried and had a couple kids with her husband. So she was like, it is what it is. I'm not going to pass judgment on my daughter for having a kid at 18, 19 years old. And she had kids young. So, that even my mother understood, like, she probably just scared to tell anybody. And she was. And so the same thing with the kid's father, with the baby's father. And I had to tell him when he finally had this moment of clarity and he, cried it out real good, which is understandable. Then I talked to his mother, and then I told his mother what was going on. So by the end of the night, my voice was gone. I was tired and exhausted. We could not see my roommate. I never saw her again after that. Couldn't see the baby. Then you got the issue legally with her. She was handcuffed to the bed. She had a police officer outside of her hospital room. This is all while, she just went through this whole experience of delivering a baby by herself in the bathroom. I expect you to be mentally discombobulated. I don't think anybody should expect someone, even with that 19-year-old girl, to be in their right frame of mind. However, I think it is what follows that and the decisions you make after that that makes the difference. And it certainly makes a difference between having your liberty and freedom and being charged with murder. Like, are you serious? So, when we realized we were going to be able to see her, we were going after I talked to the boyfriend and his mother. And she was like, wow, I would have came, if she would have said something to us, we would have supported her. So she had a support system from both sides, from her family and from the boyfriend's family. And I said, well, here's a chance for everybody to get together and come to Georgia and let's do something, because this girl is, here by herself. She's in that room by herself. We can't go in there. She can only have one visitor, and it had to be family. So needless to say, it's around midnight now. We're going into the wee hours of Friday morning. I still had class the next day, and a major biology exam. So got back to the dorm, and I gave her personals to the hospital to put up for her or to hand to her, however. I think her family had gotten to Georgia the next morning around 5 or 6 a.m. And backtrack, got to the dorm about 12:30, 1 o'clock. Still had half the dorm up waiting. When I got back, more conversations, and I was just kind of like, I need to just first of all, I want to take a shower. Take a shower. I'm tired. I just, I did that. And then when I came back in the room and sat down on my bed and just kind of recollected myself, I had already called my mom. I called my godmother. It was like, you got to get me down here. Please come pick me up tomorrow. Get out of here. Oh, because it was at a point where I was not catching a break. And I understand. I mean, stuff like that doesn't happen all the time. Even for college, you get some crazy experiences, but I ain't never had no experience like that. Even after that moment, nothing, that crazy, insane had ever occurred after that. For the remaining 3.5 years of my college experience, nothing came close to that. That was the ultimate infamous experience of a lifetime of And I was like, this can't be like ideal college life here. But you can't say it doesn't happen, because it does. That's why they had rules in, the handbook saying that you shall not live on campus in your third trimester. Because, we're talking about legal adults here, 18-year-olds. They might go out and get pregnant. Just hear the rules if you do. And so it's about 1 o'clock in the morning. And I got out of the shower, came back to my dorm room. It was pretty much like half the hallway was still up. A lot of those girls, my dorm mates, had like exams and tests like that. I don't know why November 2nd was so significant with everybody having an exam. But I knew I was spent. I already kind of, and a few of the dorm mates that were in the same major with me, had the same class as me, had already, said they would tell my teachers that they shared classes with me, that I more than likely was not going to be in class the next day. And so I said, well, if I can get some like 6 hours of sleep, and just go to bed and get up, walk across campus. My biology exam was the only major thing I had going on. All the other classes I could have actually missed without any penalty. And it got to a point where it was like 1 something in the morning. Taking a shower, talked to more dorm mates, and people were just knocking, coming by. You okay? Blah, blah, blah. I just left the door open at this point, because it was just like, I'm so tired, I even keep getting up open this door. So I had the door room open and people just coming by. And I mean, it's Friday morning. We're in the wee hours of Friday morning. And so when you're young, you think you can stay up all night and it's not going to have effect on you ever. Yeah, it does. And down the road, years later, it will. Sleep pattern all messed up. But yeah, so that was, around 1:30ish, 2 o'clock. And then that's when everybody was just kind of like, all right, it's 2 a.m. We're going to let you get some sleep. Just scream if you need us. We're all here. Everybody's on high alert. I had to make sure that the phone stayed unplugged, because they were just nonstop ringing on the dorm room phones. Why I go to bed 2 o'clock. 2:30 in the morning. I kid you not. I get this banging on the door that only a cop would do. Why do you all bang on the doors? Why? Can you just not knock or use the doorbell? Like, come on. Cops are so infamous with banging on doors. It scared the bejesus out of me. This banging on the door woke up the whole dorm again. And it was like, this can't be real. I just sat straight up. I was knocked out. And I heard bum, 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 bum. That's how I woke up. I was like Frankenstein, like, what is going on? Scared me to death. Y'all, I promise you, by the third banging on the door, I heard what sounded like keys jangling. It was the resident director unlocking the door as if I was not in there. And I was. I'm sitting here like, this can't be real. I was like, hold on. I get up, I open the door, and it had to be about 3 or 4 police officers executing a search warrant. I told y'all it gets crazy in the second part. They were executing a search warrant for the whole dorm room. Mind you, 2 people stayed in this dorm room. The entire dorm room. And I'm like, are you kidding? I literally just went to sleep. 30 minutes into sleep. The banging on the door, and it was just 3-4 cops come in, and they're just tearing the room apart. So I'm just kind of like, wait. You all realize I did not have a baby. Okay, so there's no evidence over here on this side of the room. This is my side of the room. This is her bed, her dresser, her whatever. All her stuff over here. This is my side. There's no need to tear up the whole room. It was like, we have a warrant to search the entire room. Now, they were nice, and they did not mutilate the bed to my bed. But they had to search the closets, dressers. They went in the trash cans, through the drawers of the desk, the dressers, underneath the bed. They stripped her bed, took the sheets. They took pictures of the mattress. They looked under the bed. They were just they really did do a number on her side. Her closet had I can't say how the dorm rooms look now, but when I was at Spelman, the dorm rooms were 2 per person in Manley Hall. All the dorms weren't like that. They had some single occupancy dorm rooms, but in Manley Hall, in the rooms we were in, it was two students per room. And so with your closet space, it's like a little box. It's not big at all. It's not much space to hang up a lot of stuff. And you had to get a lock for it to close it. So, and keep people from going in it. So they, it was just like a little gym lock or whatever for a locker. And they broke that open. I didn't have a key for it. So, they had to bolt that and break it open. They opened up her closet. They went through all her stuff. They bagged up anything that was evidence. Like I said, her sheets, I think her water had broken. So she had, soiled sheets, whatever. They stripped her whole bed. They took pictures. They, did all that. They had taking pictures of the bathrooms and the shower stall where she was sitting. She didn't make it back she didn't even make it out the bathroom. So like the little trail she left, it was just kind of from the bathroom to the stairway. And that was it. And out the door. And this is 2:30 in the morning. So it was just kind of like, as soon as everybody, at least on that floor, had kind of got settled, especially my immediate neighbors, we were all up again. And they were just kind of like, what is going? A whole search warrant. And my dorm mates across the hall were like, just come over here. I got to a point where I was just so exhausted. It just played on my emotions. I just kind of had a breakdown moment. I was so tired and drained. My voice was gone. I had been talking to all these people for her just to make sure they understood what was happening, giving them updates. And I was just spent. I was drained. And then to turn around and be welcomed to this crazy search warrant at 2:30 in the morning. Just went to sleep. And so it was kind of like that. The hall was at least, say about 10, 12 rooms on that floor. Half of the floor was wide awake at that point. And you're talking about over 30 students. We all just kind of in the hallway, wide awake. They were kind of like, just come over here and across the hall. And they was like, just sit over here with us. If you want to lay down, just lay down, or whatever. And just chill out while they do whatever. And it was irritating because I was like, they're doing the whole room. They were trying to be considerate of my personal line, but they still had the search warrant to search the entire room. They didn't care how many people was in it. So it was just kind of like, I don't want to have to go back over there and then just literally clean up this whole thing. So my dorm mates were, like I said, you have this sisterhood bond that was developed from this one incident. And they were all like, we'll help you. We'll all help you clean up, straighten up over here. Don't worry. It's just, they have to do what they had to do. And I understood that. But it was just like, why is it at 2:30 in the morning? I just went to sleep. Man, that had to be the craziest thing ever. And so once they were done, I think it was like 3-ish. It took about 30-40 minutes. And then of course the resident director was like, I just want to make sure you're okay. And, I said, I'm just tired. I don't even know why, why didn't they come get this stuff earlier? I mean, you had Spelman police here, you had the APD, you had paramedics, fire department, you had all these people here. Why didn't they come get all this stuff earlier? Like, and it's like, well, they have to have a warrant to search the room, which is fine. But I'm like, I would have willingly let them come in and get whatever. They didn't have to get a warrant in this situation. Just come, whatever you need to get, come get it. But but I don't even know if I went back to sleep right away. I think around 4:30, 5 o'clock, I just passed out and don't even remember going to sleep, and woke up around 8, and I went to my science teacher, my biology teacher, and I said, look, you will not believe the night that I had. She said, are you the roommate of the girl that had the baby in the bathroom? I was like, what time is it? How you know? I was like, what was I thinking? I mean, we had kids calling from Georgia State, UGA, which is in Athens. Georgia Southern, which is down south, Georgia State, Georgia Tech, Clark, people calling everywhere. So why am I not surprised that all the teachers now know? I was like, yeah. And she was like, I'm so sorry this happened, blah, blah, blah. You can, real sweetheart. I did well in that class, but she was also a great teacher. Probably one of the best professors I ever had. And she was like, don't worry about it. You can just take it on Monday. I want you to just take, some time to rest. And I think I just kind of had a little moment there. And I was just like, I'm just so tired. I've been studying for this test and everything. And this is freshman year. I mean, you kind of learning the ropes when it comes to your study habits and your study schedule. You're on your own. You're not in high school anymore. You don't have teachers stand on top of you about anything. You got to go to class. You don't have your parents there to force you to get up and go to school. So, everything is learning independence and responsibility. So, I was just like, I don't want to. I've always been studious, and I've always cared about my grades and obsessed with getting A's and B's. And I was like, I don't want to miss this test, but I don't even know if I'm in the right frame of mind to take it right now. And she was like, I know you're not. Don't worry about it. I want you to get some rest. I said, I can't. Like, my room is almost a crime scene. It's roped off. They getting tore it up. So I had told, I think I talked to 2 teachers, and they both were already aware. Like, they were like, we got to call either that night or earlier that morning that this had happened. They sent out emails, correspondence or whatnot to the professors just to give them a heads up, because they have to still treat it like incident. So when there's an incident to occur at the school, there's a policy that, teachers and staff and students have to be notified of a major incident like this. And so teachers talk, just like students. So it is what it is. And they were already, especially, all the teachers that were science or any of the teachers that she had or I had, you know, of course, this is their student. So, of course, they're going to talk. They're going to college. I'm like, you know, that student so-and-so who's pregnant and had a kid and gave birth in the bathroom. Like, that spread like wildfire. So, it made it easier to be able to tell them, like, yeah, I can't, I just can't do class today. It is what it is. I have to just, you know, go home. I'm gonna go back to the room, and I'm gonna try this whole go to bed thing all over again because I'm sleepy, you know, and I just couldn't focus. And of course, when my roommate's family got in, you know, they called and they all thanked me, you know, for keeping them informed. And you know, they got down there to the hospital, and I was hoping to be able to visit and see her, and they would not let us see her again. And it was at that point when her family got there, they told her you can only have one visitor in the room with you, and she opted for her grandmother. So even then, you know, her grandmother was her strongest support system, and she was kind of still afraid of her grandmother getting upset and angry and everything, but that's the only one she wanted in the room with her. And like I said, I haven't seen her since. And it's crazy. So that incident kind of just pushed me into reality and adulthood real quick, because it's kind of like these things happen. I mean, you know, kids, you get 18, 19 years old, you might get pregnant. Things happen like that, but it shows the toll that it takes on everybody affected and everybody around you. It's not just affecting the person that had the baby, it's affecting everybody connected to it, from me being just the roommate to her family to the child's father. It affected all of us, her friends, people who cared about her and loved her, that she had, you know, forged friendships with at, you know, at Spelman. All of us were affected. And so, you know, for a good month or so, I had gotten updates from people that she did talk to more often. But I, like I said, never saw her any, you know, again. They came and her family, you know, had collected her things because they had to move her out of the camp, out of the dorm room. She had already violated the policy of being on campus in her third trimester. So that next day, that Friday, when I came back, that was another thing. So of course I had to make sure that, you know, they were at least able to get in. Were they given a key? I think the resident director was there to help as well. But yeah, they came there, they got her, they had to pack up her stuff. They had to move, you know, clear out her side of the room, and my dorm mates helped me, you know, clean up after her family got her belongings, and they had to just kind of put it in bags. I mean, it was like just put everything in a bag and box or however, you know, didn't have time to really think twice. You know, they had to pack up and get her stuff out, you know, and then of course all the while, and this is the thing, this is not a slight against Spelman, because I understand that they want to, you know, protect their reputation, but you got to realize that there's just a certain level of reality that you cannot be tapped out of either. You can't pretend like these things don't happen. And putting the stress on students to not say something when it spread like wildfire in a couple of hours to colleges across the state of Georgia, okay? It wasn't just Spelman students that were aware of the situation. No. You had colleges and universities across the state of Georgia that knew that this happened. So I never allowed that to pressure me to the point where I felt like I couldn't talk about it. This is my first time really talking about it publicly, but I didn't, if I needed to discuss the situation just to kind of air out the stress a little bit and what was going on, I did that. I didn't allow Spelman to keep me tight-lipped, and I didn't sign no NDA with them. And it's not my goal to make them look bad, but it's how you handle these situations. There are just times where you can't sweep everything under the rug. It needs to be discussed so that people can understand and know, what's really going on. Because this is just a part of reality. It's a part of life. Students are going to get pregnant. They may come to college pregnant. They may get to college, get pregnant, and then have a kid, or, what have you. So you can't pretend like these things don't occur. These incidences occur and they're real. They just don't get discussed. And they should be, because that stress takes a toll on those students and all those affected. It wasn't just me. I'm the immediate roommate, but I had dorm mates that had rooms next to mine, across the hall from mine, that were all subjected to this banging of doors with this search warrant being executed. All of us was up at 3 something in the morning and exhausted and tired, and we all had to deal with what was happening in real time. From the moment the cops got there, when she first gave birth, to, the next day when you had cops and the resident directors and assistants, RAs coming in and out the hallway and in and out the room, and family members gathering her belongings, all these things going on. It affected everybody in the dorm room. It affected everybody in the hallway, and that was in that immediate vicinity of my dorm room. So, these types of situations can also be used as a learning measure, a tool to help other young ladies to know that you don't have to keep your pregnancies hidden. Unless you really fear for your life or something, it happens. You're not the only 18, 19-year-olds to get pregnant. You'd be amazed and surprised. Some of your parents and grandparents and your aunties probably had babies young too. But you deal with this stuff. You got to cope with it. You got to accept that reality. Being in denial to the point where, you have serious charges you're facing, legally speaking, it's not worth you keeping your mouth closed and not telling someone. And even if you feel like you can't really tell anybody because there might be greater consequences, just take the baby to the hospital that you can leave as a safe zone, and hey, I can't do this. The father isn't in my life, whatever. I'm not ready. And then you take the baby to a safe zone, the hospital, where they will take the baby without any questions. They won't charge you anything. They won't even ask what's going on, and they will take the baby, and that's it. Do that. Don't let it get to a point where it's out of control. Now legally you're facing this. So Friday, that was the day, cleaning up, whatever, family in town, trying to pack up, blah blah blah. Get down to about 5 or 6. My godmother gets off work, thank you Jesus, came and got me. So I think I was gone. She didn't bring me back to campus till Monday. Yeah, she kept me the entire weekend. I love my godmama. She kept me the whole weekend. I called her. I actually called her. She was asleep. It was almost midnight. And I was like, my roommate just had a baby. She's like, oh, see? So she wasn't shocked because she kind of figured, that might be the case. But that goes to show the extent of the effect on that. Me waking up my godmother at 12 something at night saying, please get me out of here. Okay, I'll be there tomorrow when I get off. And that was it. And so when I came back Monday, she had a court date for a bond hearing. They had gotten her an attorney. She was facing serious charges. Okay, serious charges. I think the major difference in this situation with my roommate from college versus this 19-year-old girl is that the baby my roommate had lived. The 19-year-old literally put that baby up, discarded, like, and just didn't care if it survived or not. And then was in the hospital when this happened. So you're in a place where giving birth, it just requires a lot of medical attention, and you have it right at your fingertips, and you still did not get medical attention. And this was a safe zone hospital. They would take the baby, and you could have just went on your merry way. The most, scrutiny you got was from your mother. But at the end of the day, you're not facing a murder charge. Like, are you kidding? So her attorney, our roommate's attorney, said the same thing that no, he did not say the same thing. Because this 19-year-old girl attorney, he is literally blaming it on the hospital. Never mind the fact that she's 19 and she simply failed to tell people that she was pregnant, even though the pictures are so apparent. She had a blood test done that confirmed the pregnancy. What are you talking about, dude? And those cheerleading outfits, they're not made to be baggy at all. That's why it hugs her to the point where you can see her swell clear as day. Those cheerleading uniforms are not even made to be baggy. So there was no hiding that, wearing that cheerleading uniform. Are you kidding me? Even when she had on a t-shirt and she was practicing, there was no hiding that baby bump. So stop it. Stop it. This is not the hospital's fault. This is not a failure of the hospital. And this is coming from someone that actually witnessed and experienced someone doing that, like going through the same thing. My roommate didn't put her baby in no trash can, nothing like that. Mind you, what she still did was, I told her flat out, you should not have done that. You should have allowed someone to call 911 and ask for help, because, that shows your intent and, your mental state. But she didn't just put the baby in the trash can. Are you kidding me? No. Your client put a newborn, in a trash can. And this baby had, on the autopsy, you're trying to fight evidence. You're literally trying to act as if evidence does not exist, like an autopsy was not done, and that science did not prove that there was oxygen in the tissue of the baby's lungs. You're literally trying to, you're not even acknowledging that evidence. Are you kidding me? You're the worst attorney ever. The end. And that's my opinion. And it is what it is. So my roommate's attorney, on the other hand, he went to court. He said, listen, I'm not even going to say that what she did was okay. It wasn't. All I'm going to say is that her family is here from out of state. She's a college student here. She's never been in trouble. She's never even gotten a speeding ticket, or, I don't know if she was driving, but she's never been in any trouble at all, ever. And her family is here to take responsibility. They're asking that the baby is released and discharged to my roommate's mother or her grandmother. Even the father of the child, I think he came up. I can't remember if he came up or not. I don't want to say if he did or didn't, and that wasn't the case. I simply don't remember. But she still had the support system. Her mother and her grandmother were willing to accept, responsibility on her behalf and take the baby. And begged and pleaded with the state of Georgia to discharge the baby, release the baby to them in their care. And then, of course, they did not deny the events itself, because that is what happened. It's the reality of it. And I think her case, I think they dropped the charges. So it goes, this is why these situations, these experiences should be shared. Maybe this experience with my roommate and the fact that her attorney did not try to deny the obvious evidence and facts related to the case that this happened might inspire this 19-year-old girl, what's her name? Her attorney. Dude, please stop doing this. You're literally trying to pretend like there's just, like you're not in this reality here. There's no alternate form of reality with this. You can paint this picture however you want, but the reality is your client is a 19-year-old legal adult. I don't care that she is in high school still. I don't understand why, but whatever. I'm not even passing judgment with that. That's irrelevant. But she went to a hospital in the ER, to the bathroom, gave birth, and did what she did with the baby. And that is how the baby passed. That's it. Asphyxiation. You cannot literally deny the science and the evidence of that. If everything in life is a figment of someone's alternate reality, then what substantiates anything to be true and factual? You can paint that picture in any way you want. The facts still remain. The end. It is a disservice. It's disingenuous to this baby itself for you to pretend like this baby was born and did not take a breath or two. And that science has not proven that this baby took in oxygen into its lungs. That's just so disingenuous, it's not even funny. Get over yourself. You can at least say, my client did what she did. There's no denying it. She's on camera. She was the last person in that bathroom. What happened in the bathroom? You can debate that all day. But there are facts that you cannot debate and evidence that you just can't debate away, and you can't contort it to be non-existent. No, it exists. What are you talking about? The best you can do is, at least as her attorney say, this was the state of mind. This is what she was going through. She's fearful of her mother and her mother's response and yada, yada, yada. And this is what happened. And her mom, what do we need to do to lessen the blow of the punishment of this? I mean, I don't even know how to even put that, because it's her. She kept saying that the baby didn't take a breath, but the baby did. So I think this just, my experience and having a roommate in college, this is my freshman year college experience, and where this happened in real time, just the changes in how she, didn't do exactly what this 19-year-old did with the baby itself makes a big difference. It's easier to say, she was in denial and she went into labor, she went to the bathroom, she gave birth, she's scared, she doesn't know what to do. My roommate literally was, and even to reemphasize her state of mind, Monday when, she had her bond hearing and her attorney was there with her family, even the attorney, because I went to the hearing as well, and her attorney was like, she's asking about school, about class. Like that's how, out of the reality of where, the realm of what was happening around her, that's how detached she was. But even after all of that, her family was like, look, Spelman told you got to go. So now is here is when you got to start making some grown-up decisions. Because you are legal age, you're 18. Here's where, okay, you got to snap into this reality. You had a baby, it's a boy. Spelman is not going to let you come back. That's it. So now we have to do something different. So they took her back home. From my understanding, because like I said, I haven't seen her, spoken to her. I haven't seen her since then. And the update that I was given that she did go back to school and everything. So she had the support. She was able to still do what she felt she needed to do, get an education so that she can get, a career established and everything. And I hope she achieved all her goals. I really do. And I understand, I empathize with the situation because I've witnessed someone go through that in real time. That's why it's so irritating with this 19-year-old, doing all of this. And then you have her attorney sitting here, and I'm still trying to find her name. You have her attorney blaming all of these decisions that she made on the hospital. The hospital can't force you to admit that you're pregnant. They can do a test to determine that. But even with the UA and the blood test, she still kept trying to deny that she did it. Like the kid, okay, it went from, I didn't know, to, okay, the baby didn't breathe and was not allowed to, I was scared. So her excuses shifted within a matter of minutes. And it was just like one lie to another lie to another lie to another lie. And at some point you have to just say, stop. I mean, her mom didn't even want to refer to the baby as a baby, call it. And didn't want to actually at least show that she was somewhere in the realm of this reality where this just happened. So for the attorney to go around and blame it on the hospital and all that, no, because she's 19, she's legal, she's an adult, and I don't know how you can erase the facts and evidence of this and then sit here and say, the hospital failed her. They didn't tell her that. When they did. When it's literally on camera, on a body cam. She didn't go to the hospital until she was in labor. Until she had this back pain. So, before then, they can't. You think the hospitals are keeping up with what's going on with every patient out there in the world? They couldn't do anything until she went to the hospital. And she went to the hospital when she was having back pains, which so happened to be, coinciding with the concept that she was in labor. Because she had this urge to go to the bathroom, pushed, went to the bathroom, pushed, the baby came out. How was the hospital supposed to tell her before that day, before she went to the hospital, to the ER, how was the hospital supposed to tell her that she's pregnant if she doesn't go to the hospital? She had to go to the hospital, after getting the UA test done, and still denied that it's impossible. I haven't even lost, my gender, anything. And then they say, okay, fine, we'll do a blood test. And then they do that and it still confirms it. And now it's, it wasn't alive. Oh, well, this happened, this happened. You can't eradicate that. You can't eradicate it. And any smart, intelligent, competent attorney will not just sit here and show even the more that they're just as much out of touch with reality as the patient and the mother, the girl's mother herself. Are you kidding? Dude, just stop. You might want to come up with a whole nother defense. You're going to have to do something else. I am living proof that even with all of that happened with my roommate, her attorney did not go into court lying or blaming the hospital. It's a bad move. It's no reason to deny the factual evidence of the case. Now, you can, like I said, the intent of it is debatable. Because just like with this 19-year-old, my roommate said that she was coming to the room to call 911. You can debate the intent of that, but you can't debate the fact that she birthed in the bathroom stall. There's just factual evidence and facts to this that this cannot be debated. The autopsy on that baby cannot be debated. The baby breathed oxygen. It was signs of oxygen in the baby's lung tissue. And that the baby died by asphyxiation. So you cannot deny that. That is just a fact that you cannot wish away. Now, if she intended on doing that, or, not, is the intent of it. You can concoct whatever you want with that, but don't start denying and pointing fingers at the hospital when the hospital, the hospital is not going to just sit here and, demand that you come in and get a blood test done because you look pregnant. The only way they would know is if you go in, you have a complaint, whatever your chief complaint is. In her case, this 19-year-old case, it was her back pain. They can only go from there and just kind of rule out what it could be. And her being 19 and definitely looking like she was all of full-term pregnant in her pictures, they did rule that out. They did a urine test. Then they did a blood test. She went to the bathroom 15, 20 minutes. You can see people on camera going to the bathroom, knocking on the door. Got to a point where they were about to just open the door. You can see all of that going on. So, no, it's not, the hospital didn't fail her anything. If nothing else, she lied to the hospital. She didn't go to the hospital until she had back pain. And that just happened to be the same day she gave birth. How were they supposed to know before that day? You're saying things that can easily be challenged so easily. A child could say, well, how would the hospital know to actually do blood tests on her? You think she's the only 19-year-old in the state of New Mexico? Is that what it is? I don't understand what your angle is with that. It doesn't make sense. It's just no logic in it. And you're going to piss off the judge, because one thing judges don't like is incompetent attorneys. That I don't like when you go in there, you literally coming at them with that level of buffoonery. Child, please. They're not going to even be tolerant of that. Nobody has the temperament or the patience for that. Because of this situation and what's happened, there's just no room for, this nonsense of a hospital failing a 19-year-old who never told anybody that she was pregnant, even though she looked every bit of pregnant. And didn't go to the hospital until she had pain. And when she got there, they did all the tests. They followed procedure. You're literally going to go in the courtroom and try to argue against procedure that they have, that they follow, that they can prove that they did? Are you kidding? Is that your angle? Child, you better try harder. Stop it. Just stop it. So that was after my roommate and had her court date and everything, and her attorney, they had gotten her an attorney. He went in there and he did his thing. He said flat out, like, listen, baby is healthy. The parents and the family wants to take the baby. They want to be given the right to have the baby discharged and released to them. I want to say maybe her grandmother had the baby released to her. And, they petitioned for a temporary guardian ad litem. So until the charges were dropped or cleared or however, they had guardianship of the baby. But they didn't come here trying to deny reality. Why would you want to do that? Just makes it worse. It's like you're making a mockery of this whole thing by saying just dumb stuff that literally can be disproven with facts and evidence. And her attorney didn't do that. There's a way to be able to present the case where you're not sitting here just denying factual evidence. And he basically, said, this is, yep. So that is the tale of story time. And my roommate in college, I still wish her well. I hope that, by now, it's 2023, her son will be 22 years old. And I really hope that things worked out great for them. She definitely had a strong support system and family members that, loved her and were willing to travel hours away on the spur of the moment to support her. And hopefully that will encourage and inspire other people to be, empathetic and loving. If the evidence points towards one way, though, be honest and be realistic. But there's no shame in, showing support and telling people what's going on so that you can get some help. So yeah, that's my story and my tale of, oh man, college life is something else. And like I said, I hope that these incidences like this are so avoidable in so many situations. I'm not, well versed in these types of situations as far as women who really fear like the worst happening if they told people they were pregnant. Like I haven't heard of every scenario where, like, what's the worst consequence from that, from just telling someone you're pregnant. But I can certainly empathize with, someone who's afraid and scared to say, especially at a young age, 18, 19, even 16, 17, I'm pregnant. And it's something many parents could say they dread their teenagers telling them, especially when you got your whole life ahead of you, and there are just experiences in life you probably should live and go through before you even become a parent. And knowing that, being a parent is a life-altering decision. And most parents want their kids you got to be fully prepared for this. There's no more thinking about yourself when you have a kid. It's putting your child first. And every decision that you make, you have to put your child first. Even when it comes down to jobs, something I'm still applying for. But when it comes down to getting a job, I have to think about how a job factors into my life and my ability to still be a mom and take care of my kids. It doesn't make sense for me to get a job working a second or third shift when I have no help or support system that can watch my kids, while I work a second or third shift job. So that's just a prime example of, having to get jobs where it still allows you to be a parent, be there for your kids, and to still be able to work and make money and to take care of them. But even just realizing you won't be able to do everything you want to do, but you hopefully can do the things you need to do to be the best mom or dad that you can be. And that starts with the pregnancy. Go to the doctor, get checked out, and tell people. If you genuinely are afraid and you don't know how people are going to react, like your family, even the child's father, for just the sake of the baby and your health, tell someone and let them, if you're 18 and over, hey, I'm not ready to be a mom. I don't want to have, termination, but I know I'm not ready for motherhood either. So I'm going to have the baby and take the baby to the hospital. I'd rather that be, something that you think to do first than for that be an option that people don't want to explore because they're afraid, but then putting baby in the trash can bag, whatever, is something that why is that second nature? It shouldn't be. Second nature should be, if I don't have the ability to take care of this kid or raise this baby, second nature should be, I'm going to take the baby to a hospital, to a safe zone. Let that be the next decision you make. And spare the life. This kid is, like I said, everybody's not meant to be a parent. That's just the reality of the situation. Everybody's not meant to be a parent. It was not meant to be a mother or father. I'd rather, like I said, you take the baby to a hospital than to do something heinous. And we see too many times where, these similar situations, or parents do even worse. They abuse kids, they, mistreat them, they do all this stuff. And they shouldn't be a parent anyway. They didn't want to be a parent. And it's almost like you have a society where people are being forced to be pregnant and give birth and have kids and be parents. And then they do these types of things where it should just be, listen, if you giving birth, if you have the baby, if you were afraid to tell someone that, and you decide you go full term and you go into labor and you give birth or whatever, just tell the hospital that you want to waive your rights. If it means this baby living to see a new day, just tell the baby you want to waive your rights. I'm not ready for this. If this is a safe haven, I want to leave the baby here. There are so many women out there that want to have kids and having issues and difficulties with that, and would be great mothers and want to do that. You have to want to be a mother to be a mother. I don't think that's something that should be forced on anybody, like I said, because the moment something happens and then, they show that they really didn't want to be a mother, and then something happens to the kid, and it's like, why did this person do this? Well, they probably shouldn't have been a parent to begin with. So these are real conversations that need to be had, and conversations that we need to teach our kids, at younger ages now, for some reason. Because that's the reality of it. Kids are learning about a lot of things at younger ages that, back 30 years ago, if you were 18 and over, it was not, and now it's so common for kids to do things that it's almost like, I have to reemphasize to my kids, I just want y'all to be kids, just worry about kid things, not an adult issue. That's why I have to go to the car and cry. Because even if I just have a moment and I end up releasing in front of my kids, I have to sit down and talk to them and help them understand what's going on as much as possible without them feeling like they have to bear my burden, because they're kids. I want them to be kids. I want them to worry about kid things, and not things that mommy should be worried about and taking care of. That's it. So unfortunately, a lot of these kids are thrust into this role of motherhood and fatherhood at younger ages, and they're not ready for it. They're not prepared for it, and parents don't talk about it. Parents don't give them the real deal. They don't tell them what they should be, focused on. And if this happens, here are your options. This 19-year-old girl, Alexi, whatever, her mother you talking about somebody failing somebody. No, her mother failed her. Because I'm sure her mother understands that, my child's 18, 19 years old here. And I'm seeing my child walk through this house, and that belly keeps getting bigger and bigger. We need to talk about that. Or if you're afraid to talk about this with your daughter, take her to the hospital and let that OBGYN help create some conversation. But it's worse to see the mother be in just as much denial as the daughter. And then for her to comment like she, like this has happened more than once to me. Is how that comment came off. Like you scolding her about not cleaning her room. I thought we talked about this. I thought we discussed this sort of thing. You need to wash dishes and do your chores. Like, this is not, you understand how serious this is. Oh. And then to make matters worse, girl, you trying to obstruct this child being arrested. Are you kidding? Stop it. Stop it. It's hard to want to show empathy when you got all that lined up against you and stacked up against you. And your attorney is going around here on camera telling people that the hospital failed and they didn't tell her she was pregnant. And, well, they told her when she came to the hospital. That's kind of like, I still get asked, are you pregnant? Like, no. I'm not. I can't. Yeah, I've had a full hysterectomy. So there ain't no baby in me unless God put it in there. And that's still a miracle. I would still be blown away by that. I still get asked that though. It's kind of standard for hospitals to ask that, especially depending on your chief complaint. Abdominal pain, first thing I'm gonna ask you might be pregnant. So don't think they didn't ask that. They just asked it when she went to the hospital. Because otherwise, how is the hospital supposed to know? Are you kidding me? Boy, stop. All right. That's my story time. I can go on about that dang on attorney because he is, ooh, Lord. He's going to be a hot mess in court. This is about to get really weird. But yeah, so I hope this helps to, I want to have some more sympathy for this. And I'm not trying to even pass judgment on the 19-year-old kid. But it needs, she needs, her mother needs a reality check. The attorney needs a reality check. And they need to have some real hard conversations that they may not want to have, but they need to have them. Because now you have this child facing a murder charge. How are you going to beat that with the evidence so far that's stacked against you? You can't explain that evidence away from that autopsy. Do you not understand this? Or I'm just, whatever. That attorney is the, y'all might need to get a new attorney. Understand. All the while, a baby is no longer here. And should be. So, that's kind of what the jury might take away from that. There's a baby that's no longer here that should be here. So have some conversations with your kids. Talk to them. No parent is perfect. We're not meant to be because we're not perfect people. No human being is perfect. But sometimes sharing these stories and sharing these experiences helps others. And you'd be amazed how many people can relate to being pregnant at 18, 19 years old and scared and not know what to do. It might be able to give some advice and some wisdom for others out there that are, teenagers, and especially when it comes down to just basic topics of discussion such as the birds and the bees. Or contraceptives and condoms. Those still exist. Teaching your kids about that. Be safe. Can't be with them every waking minute of their lives. This girl had, the opportunity and got pregnant and went full term. Pictures don't lie. But she never went to a hospital either. It's not like she went to the hospital and the hospital kept telling her, oh, it might just be a gallstone or something. And then they never did the blood test. No, when she went there, they did it. And they told her she was. Cut that out. It's almost an insult to the hospital staff for you, and what they experienced and saw in that bathroom, for you to sit here and say the hospital still failed her. Kick rocks, this stupid attorney. Darn. I'm sorry, I'm still venting about that. But have some conversations with the kids. Tell your kids that you love them, you want to support them, you want to be there for them. And that makes all the difference in the world. All right. You guys continue to stay safe. Take care of yourselves and each other. And until the next one.